Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the channel, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome into tonight's live. Chapstick on me. But welcome in. How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing? Trying to get everything kind of set up. I was a little bit late getting everything kind of set up for tonight. So welcome in. Welcome into tonight's live. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see you guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back for another live. We are live here daily. So if that's something that you're into, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you here. Also, if you don't mind, one of my co-hosts is trying to escape on me. If you guys don't mind taking a second, if you do like the content once we get into it, don't forget to hit the like button. And now they want to go out there, I guess. Are you leaving? These dogs have been laying in these beds for 3 hours. What's going on here? Turn on the camera and then they want to get up. Go over to your bed. It like echoes in here. It's like an echo chamber with their claws. There we go. See, we got one back here. Oh, I guess my thing's in the way. I don't know if I can take let me take my banner thing down right there. If I can figure it out. Oh, there we go. Well, you can kind of see the other one. She's back there. She's back there. Those are my co-hosts. They're here tonight. So, welcome on in, everybody. Welcome. The dogs even said welcome in. I'm going to go up to the top end of the chat and say hi to you guys. But thank you guys again for being here. We are going to talk about Idaho tonight. So it's going to be, it's going to be a good live. It's going to be a really good live. I've got a lot of things to show you guys. Hey, Ladybug. Oh, thank you. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Help Tanya grow this channel. Thank you. Yes, we are growing and we want to grow even faster and quicker. Hey, Ashley. Welcome in. Hey, Cheryl. $15 for peanut butter. We're not moving to Canada. That's why the healthcare is free. Because the peanut butter costs $15 a jar. For peanut butter? How much is peanut butter in the United States? I haven't had peanut butter in a long time. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Jan. Welcome in, Jan. Hey, Squeaky Wheel. Hey, Fur Baby Mom. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Catherine. Catherine, there's a lady that has your name running around out there. She's calling me Hitler. Should have said that on YouTube, but that's what she called me. Her name's Catherine, but it was actually Catherine with a C, but not our Catherine with a C. Wasn't our Catherine with a C. And Ashley said she changed her picture. I thought I saw that. Hey, Wiss, welcome in. I like Wiss's new picture. It's very cool. Hey, Tony, welcome in. Hey, Mr. Rosebud. Hey, from my perspective, welcome in, everybody. It's Clue season. I like that name. I think I might have told you that before. Today's your 9th year on YouTube. Oh my gosh, Sailor Outlaw Georgia. Wow, congratulations. That's a long time to be on YouTube. I've been on YouTube. It'll be 2 years in September. It'll be actually, I think it's more like actually August. So tomorrow. I don't know the exact date, but I think it's more like August I came in. I could probably tell you exactly when because I could just go to my old videos. But I think my first one was in 2020, but that was just like a video, and then I got off the platform for a couple of years. Hey, Yankee Kyle, good to see you guys. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Frenchie. Hey, Jill. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the pile here, but hold on a second. Look at Dirty Dog. Oh, look at the dog. Oh, thank you. Oh, well, thanks. And I didn't even see the comment. And that's such a sweet comment too. I just saw the dog and I was like, we got to see what that dog looks like. Its ears are cute. Canada must be out west. Well, $15 is that's a lot of money for some peanut butter. I would not be. Well, I guess you wouldn't have peanut butter jelly sandwiches if you're poor, then, huh? Yeah, I don't know. I literally, let me see if I have it up. Oh, I don't, but I'll go back to it. Yes. I'm gonna start doing. I think I don't know if I'll do it. It'll probably be this channel or my second channel. I don't know, but every once in a while, I don't get a lot of. I think another channel should do this. This should be their idea, really. But if they want to steal it from me, they can. But I think a channel needs to that gets a lot of hate. They need to just reserve a live just especially to read out the hate comments because some of them are out of this world. Like, I mean, some of the stuff that you'll hear, like you'll see, because you don't really hear it because they don't say it, that you're reading it. But it's just like, whoa, calm down. It's not the end of the world. I've actually had people apologize to me on my community tab because and I've apologized right back to them. Like they're like, I'm sorry I came out of pocket. I'm just having a bad day. And I'm like, I'm sorry I'm sorry I came at you like that. I'm having a bad day too. But it would usually just me like killing them with kindness. It's usually what I do. And so I'm usually just like, or I'll hit them with the ma'am because I know that us women don't like to be called ma'am. Miss is good. Miss, I'm not a ma'am person. And I think it's like an older thing, the way you say it too, like insinuates. There's Catherine with a C, but this wasn't our Catherine. That just to let everyone know. No, she said, let me see. Go to comments. It's still in my, I think, held for review. Okay. So it was over the video with Joe Petito, like that I was talking about how I felt Tony and Seth were not being truthful when they were saying that Joe had backed out of their live because of threats. I just don't believe that. That's my own personal, and I even said that's my own personal thing. Everyone needs to believe what they want to believe, or what they want to believe. But this person didn't even, she came in straight with the comments. She says, of course, why would he lie? Is this the narrative now? JP, I'm glad they're on two, letter like that, they're like, they got it like that. And JP would always help. Seth has lost his son. Leave the poor man alone. And I wasn't even being mean. It's just that tired of these hate channels. Who's hating? No one's hating. I hate when they say hate channels. Like, I don't hate anybody. And then she wrote, so that was 4 days ago. So I'm sometimes I'm bad about like getting to my comments. I don't know why. I just am. What happens is I'll get a day behind and then I'm like 5 days behind all of a sudden. And then I feel like I'm overwhelmed. It's probably the ADHD in me, but I get like overwhelmed. I don't want to mess with it at all. So then I finally I'll look at them. So I was starting with my held for review because a lot of times I got to push Steve's through because he'll put like the little rock things, like rock hands, which are really cool. And it'll hold his comment every time. So she said that, and then that was 4 days ago. So then she comes back 2 days later. I guess she knew that I must not have saw the first one because I didn't comment on the first comment that came through. And plus it was held for review anyway. And she says, what are you, Hitler? Do your own research. What are you talking about? We were talking about Joe Petito going on Seth's show. Like, she did not like me. Let's just say that. She didn't like me. She didn't like me at all. And he said you and Bill. Oh, she's smiling so big. Oh, she's gorgeous. You guys look both really happy there. Thank you, Mary Beth, for gifting a membership. That's so sweet. I have to go back up now. Hey, Phantom, welcome in. I hope you're feeling better. Dirty dog, yeah. Okay, well, see, I'm not the only one. And I wasn't the only one in the chat that night either. And I wasn't like, I've said the least about anybody. You know what I mean? When it comes to that whole case. Like I was kind of going on Seth there a little bit. I felt that I was, and I felt bad for doing that. But there are some things that he just does that just makes me like say things, and I can't help it because my mouth is just big. It just, I don't know. It's been tamed, pretty tame. I've been trying to be tamed, but you're about to get kicked out. You're about to get kicked out of the clubhouse, Mia. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys. I was going to read you guys this article, and then I have a video that I was going to show you guys from Law and Crime. I watched it earlier. It has the prosecutor that handled the Pike County massacre. That case happened in Pike County, Ohio, which is like 40 minutes outside of where I grew up. So he had some stuff to say. I was like looking at the guy. I'm like, this guy looks familiar. It's probably why, because everyone knows everybody down in those areas. And then there's a new podcast that came on about the change of venue in the Idaho Massacre podcast that we've been covering on the channel. So I was like, well, let's do this thing then. There are no new documents. What the heck did I just do? Okay. Woo. I thought I just exited out of everything. That was crazy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Please hit the like. Thanks, Jill. Oh, I bet it's cute. Phantom. Did I say hi to you, Cat's Life? Because I read your comment. I don't know if I said hey. Okay, welcome in, everybody. Okay, now I'll finally get started. I think they said, oh, she sat back down. Okay, we're good to go. I don't know why they chose this picture. This isn't one of my favorites of Bryan, but okay. Not like it matters. But this was an article that I saw from Inside Edition. And there's actually another article out. I'll have to read it. Maybe I'll read it at the end or read it on another live. But it was an article about the Bryan Kohberger's living conditions like right now. And they were talking about that. I'm going to raise up my desk up a little bit and my chair. Sorry. Do you ever get this is like a new desk and I just feel like I still can't get the seating right. So I thought some of this stuff in here was pretty interesting when I was reading through it. If this article is true, and everything in the article is true, because I read something today and I think it was in this article and I just kind of side-eyed it. So let's read through this and then we'll go over and we'll listen to the podcast. Maybe it was up here. I read it too. It says this Bryan Kohberger murder trial defense disputes surveillance video, cell data, cops say places suspect at scene. Now I'm wondering about the surveillance video now that I'm seeing this that the defense is disputing it. Are they saying that there isn't any at all? Are we talking there's none on the 1112 camera that of him going past the house? I mean, because we were always led to believe that ring camera was or not ring camera, I'm sorry, but the light camera was got Bryan Kohberger's car in the area. So now they have me thinking, and I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. Because I feel like I need to go do another experiment. Hey, Badger Witness. Good to see ya. Bryan Kohberger and his defense team are disputing two key pieces of evidence from the probable cause affidavit filed by police in his murder case. In a 319-page memorandum in support of venue change filed in Latah County Court last week, a jury consulted hired by Kohberger's public defender, Ann Taylor, says that the defense will challenge the evidence that police claim places Kohberger at the scene of the murders. And that the 319-page memorandum was, they want the trial to be moved to Latah County, which is in Boise, where they just had Lori Vallow's trial and Chad Daybell's trial. And in my opinion, if they do that, what are they going to do? Just make that the whole is every trial going to be in Boise now? That's what it's making these other counties look like they can't handle their business if they do that, in my opinion. Kohberger, 29, is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and could face the death penalty if found guilty on those charges. He has pled not guilty to all charges. Can I just remember this? Okay, I want to make sure I put their page up. Okay. And Brian Edelman, the jury consultant brought on by Taylor, writes that media coverage reporting the claim by police and the probable cause affidavit that there's evidence of Kohberger being near the scene of the murders is one of the reasons why a change of venue is needed in this case. I need to put my glasses on. These findings are particularly concerning given that these media items, which came from the probable cause affidavit released to the media, were significantly related to prejudgment. This puts the defendant at a distinct disadvantage at the start of the trial. Many of the incriminating details widely reported are in dispute, including the claim that Kohberger's vehicle was placed near the crime scene by video footage and cell phone or cell tower data, Edelman says. So many of the incriminating details widely reported are in dispute, including the claim that Kohberger's vehicle was placed near the crime scene by video footage and cell tower data. Well, I'm not believing that. Edelman says that after these details were mentioned repeatedly in the coverage for over 16 months, the prosecution stated during a hearing that several of them were false or potentially inadmissible, and that as a result of this, the burden of proof has shifted to the defendant. He then adds Kohberger must change jurors' pre-existing opinions regarding the evidence against him, which have developed from extensive exposure to biased media coverage. The memorandum in the culmination of a controversial survey conducted by the defense in Latah and some of its surrounding counties in Idaho. So this is what they've been doing. They had the court hearing about it. They went behind the judge and everybody, the court and everybody, and they put out a survey to, what's it like? 70 people, I think at the time or something got it. I forget how many people got the survey before somebody called the prosecution's office and said, hey, are you guys doing a phone survey on Bryan Kohberger? Because someone just called me and here it is. And they played the recording back with the questions. So the prosecution knew that someone was doing it on the defense's side because they had the questions. They all went to court. The judge, in my opinion, should have shut that shit down right then and there because she went behind your back and did something that she shouldn't have done. She should have asked first. And she knew better. These lawyers know better. You know what I mean? And instead of doing that, he let her continue on with her survey. So this is the survey that, that they keep referring to. And I don't know. It's just, to me, that's just, I don't know. I think he should have probably shut it down because he hasn't shut anything down. He hasn't really made a whole lot of decisions. Prosecutors specifically objected to two of the questions respondents were asked in the survey, including whether or not they believe Kohberger had stalked the four victims found dead in their Moscow home back in November 2022. Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Zayna Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. And I know it's Goncalves. I always say Gonzalez because it's just like, I think it's faster for me, like when I'm reading it. So sorry if I say it like that. The other question causing concern was when those polled were asked if they heard that Kohberger followed any of the victims on social media, according to the motion filed by prosecutors. It is not the question that violated the order, according to prosecutors, but rather when the individuals asking the question allegedly informed respondents that no evidence existed to support claims that Kohberger surveyed his alleged victims' off-campus home in Moscow or followed any of the four on social media. Prosecutor Bill Thompson went after Edelman for his decision to include the stalking question while questioning him in court back in April, saying the claim was false and then adding, your surveyors put that false information into the minds of the people who were asked this question and who may not have previously heard it. Edelman said that because this claim came from media reports, he did not believe this information violated the non-dissemination order. My focus is to assess whether or not media coverage is prejudicial and whether or not it has led to opinions, Edelman said in response to Thompson's question. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. And I wish I had all 9 of those questions because there was 9 of them, and I just realized that they've had them here. So I wish I would have pulled them up. I don't know if I could probably find them, but it'd take me a few minutes. Those surveyed were also asked if they had read, seen, or heard the following. Bryan Kohberger said that he went out driving alone on the night of the murders. DNA found on the knife sheath was later matched to Bryan Kohberger. University students in Moscow and their parents lived in fear until Bryan Kohberger was arrested for the murders. Police found a knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims. Bryan Kohberger owns the same type of car recorded on video, driving in the neighborhood where the killings occurred. Cell phone tower data shows Bryan Kohberger made several trips near the victim's home in the months before the killings. The survey then takes those who have heard, read, or seen these stories and ask if they believe Kohberger is guilty, as well as if they believe he would have a hard time convincing them he was not guilty. Well, I mean, if I think someone's guilty, I think that someone's guilty. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? It's going to take a lot to change my mind, I guess I would say. But maybe I'm just stubborn. Those who have heard or read the allegedly false claim that Kohberger stalked his victims were most likely to believe he was guilty, 81%, as well as the most likely to believe he would have a hard time convincing others he is not guilty, 62%. The judge ultimately sided with Taylor back in April and allowed the defense to continue the survey in additional areas, including Latah County, where Taylor is now asking the judge to move the trial in her memorandum. Wonder if she, by chance, had really good odds with those survey questions. I wonder if those survey questions did well, in that county. I would like to know. Where's the results? Why don't we get them? Where's the results, Ann Taylor? I want to see them. Why don't we get them? Hey, Mike. Hey, KK. Welcome in, everybody. I'm on a different page, so I can't see you guys all coming in. Hey, True Crime. I was reading your comment. I'm Italian, and my brother's dad, though, is full-blood Italian. My mom would laugh because I would break noodles when I would put them in. I used to break them. I don't do it anymore. Only did it a couple times when my mama yelled at me. She's like, your grandmother. So I thought that was kind of funny. It made me smile when I read that about you cooking spaghetti. Made me think of me breaking the noodles and not doing it. They shouldn't do that. In addition to her argument that it's not possible to get an impartial jury in Latah County, Taylor says that Latah County is also a better choice because it has a larger court facility with more security. Two things she says are necessary given the national fascination with her client's case. That county is home to the state capital of Boise and recently hosted two high-profile murder trials. I'm going to put her outside, or put her out the bedroom, or out the studio, when both Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were tried in the county courthouse. Sorry, she was flipping her ears and everything. She was making all the noises. Oh, look, now she's back in her bed. How am I going to kick her out? I can't do that. She's like me. She can't sit still. Oh, Ember, I'm glad you got it. You break your spaghetti country thing. Oh, my mom was, I did it. I just remember doing it at her house one night, and I don't know. I probably should have known better, but I didn't. And I broke it, and she was like, I mean, it was like, I mean, you would have thought I just kicked the dog or something. You know what I mean? Really, like, she was like, you don't do that. You don't break them. I'm like, well, how do you eat them? It's easier to eat them this way. And then she's like, that's why you use a spoon. I'm like, no, we're not doing any of the two utensils at once kind of deal. I can't do that. I can't use chopsticks either. So it says that county is home to the state capital, Boise, and recently hosted two high-profile murder cases, which we were just talking about, Lori and Chad Daybell, and they were both found guilty. So Kohberger is set to stand trial in June 2025, regardless of the county. Various media outlets reported in the weeks after his arrest back in January 2023 that Kohberger had stalked one or more of the victims, each citing unnamed sources. Inside Edition, the magazine that we're reading, could not confirm that Kohberger stalked any of the four victims in the Idaho murders case or find any evidence that he followed any of the four on social media. Well, if you're just now looking on the social media there, Inside Edition, you are like 2 years too late. Year and a half too late. The case has been in the national spotlight since November 13th, 2022, when the four students were massacred at their home in the middle of the night. Authorities arrested Washington State University doctoral candidate Kohberger 2 months later at his parents' home in rural Pennsylvania. Soon after his arrest, a judge signed a non-dissemination order in the case, barring any member of law enforcement or lawyer involved in the case from speaking to the media ahead of the trial. I think that's all. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if they're going to get the trial. I wonder if they'll get the venue changed. I don't know. The numbers, I don't know. We're going to hear more about the numbers in the affidavit in this video I'm going to share with you guys. I listened to it earlier, and we didn't read through the 319 pages here. We normally will read. We've read every single page of that, of every page of everything that's come out for Bryan Kohberger, but I just couldn't do 319 pages. Oh, thanks, Jan. I got to turn it back on. Hold on, Jan. Let me turn it back on real quick. You're like, Nightbot, what is going on? I turned them off last night because I thought Cheryl's daughter had the babies. And she put the baby weight in there. And I was like, babies are here. I was like, forget Nightbot. Okay, so it should be working now. Okay. I don't know what I was saying before, but anyway. But no, the surveys, we'll hear more in this long crime episode we're going to listen to with Anjanette Levy. She's going to talk to a prosecutor from, I don't know if he is from Piketon or if he's from Piketon or if he's not. Maybe he doesn't practice out of there anymore. But she did say that he was the prosecutor for the Piketon Massacre, and that's what happened in Piketon, Ohio. So we'll see what I'll have to hear what she says. I'll have to hear what she says again. But look, who dressed Bryan Kohberger for court this day? I'll never get over this. Hey, Solo. Someone had a baby everywhere you are, Solo? 12-ish hours till grandson. Oh. That really makes my heart. That makes my heart melt. Oh, my Lordy. If anyone needs a new grandbaby, it is you, Solo Angel Mom. Just because, I know you have so much love. Don't forget, send me pictures to my email. I want to see baby pictures. I want to know how much the baby weighs. I want to see the baby footprint. I want all of it. And the name is adorable. And you do, oh man, you're going to make such a good grandma. You're going to make such a good grandma. If you guys don't mind taking a second, hit the like button for grandbabies and babies in general that are being born. We've got a lot of grandbabies being born in the chat. Look at that. You're going to be rubbing off on me.
Team firmly, and I mean firmly, believes in Mr. Kohberger's innocence. And right now he's being held to have a trial in a county that believes that he is guilty.
Bryan Kohberger is making his case for why he thinks his trial for the murders of 4 University of Idaho students should be moved out of Latah County. I lay out what Kohberger's arguing months ahead of his scheduled trial and why he says he can't get a fair shake in Moscow. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Bryan Kohberger's trial is scheduled to begin in June of 2025. That's about 10 months from now. The prosecution has been clear. They want to keep the trial in Latah County, where those 4 University of Idaho students, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle, were murdered in their home off campus in November of 2022. Kohberger has maintained he did not break into the home on King Road and stab those 4 students. He's essentially claimed that he was a patsy and that law enforcement was under pressure to make a quick arrest. We've known for some time now that Kohberger would ask that his trial be moved, but now his attorneys have actually filed a brief laying out why they say he can't get a fair trial in Latah County. On page 1, his lawyers wrote, Bryan Kohberger cannot receive a fair trial in Latah County as protected by his rights under both the United States and Idaho constitutions because of the pervasive, inflammatory, often inaccurate, and highly prejudicial publicity and the small size of the jury veneer. The brief includes a number of exhibits, including press releases from Moscow police throughout the investigation in November and December of 2022, when police were trying to find the killer. Those documents include photos of a white Hyundai Elantra that law enforcement says was seen at the King Road house when the murders were committed. Bryan Kohberger drove a similar vehicle. We've seen it in body camera footage of traffic stops. Kohberger's attorneys write, Daily updates were available from Moscow Police Department. Often participating in the updates or press releases was the Latah County prosecutor and chief of police James Fry. These broadcasts were played on television news stations as well as print and digital media. Social media covered the investigation, with MPD updating its Facebook page and providing press releases and media statements regularly. Kohberger's lawyers say that was the beginning of the poisoning of the jury pool against their client. Kohberger's team claims things only got worse once he was charged with the murders. Immediately and consistently, the internet was abuzz with podcasts, tweets, Facebook groups, Reddit, YouTube, and TikTok postings.
Okay. If you can't take the heat, then stay out of the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like that little saying. I'm just allegedly, I guess, because we're supposed to be a presumption of innocence. But if you have the gall to go into someone else's home when they are sleeping and take them out with a K-bar, then I'm sorry, whoever gets in the hot seat, I'm like, sorry if it's someone that's innocent, but whoever did this crime is it's heinous. They don't need to be out in the public ever. So sorry if you got to sit back there and got to sit in jail and we got to talk about you a little bit. Sorry if your feelings get hurt.
The police arrested Mr. Kohberger. The public was ready to and has proceeded to vilify him without regard to the constitutional guarantee of the presumption of innocence and a right to an impartial jury and fair trial. The media focus on Mr. Kohberger has been relentless and highly inflammatory. You can't really argue that this case has grabbed the attention.
They should send his butt back over to Pennsylvania, though. That's his problem. If you think, and the only thing I do think that I do feel for Bryan Kohberger in this whole ordeal is if he is innocent, it's going to be, I feel like, easier for them to convict this guy right here than it would be if it was one of their own. Do you know what I mean? Like this guy, he moved in here from Pennsylvania. He came here. Who's he? He's an outsider. It's easier to kind of like put everything on him, which I think he did. I think that allegedly, I think he's guilty. But maybe they should ship him back over to Pennsylvania. Take him back on the little charter plane he came in on. We'll watch.
Attention of people around the world. It was being discussed all over social media, and there was legitimate fear in Moscow. I know, because I was there. And people everywhere could relate to the case. Maybe they'd been to college and lived in a similar house as the 4 victims, or they could envision those victims being their own family members. The murders happened nearly 2 years ago now, and by the time the case goes to trial, it will be going on 3 years. These are all things that Judge will have to weigh. Kohberger's lawyers write, the determination of whether to grant a motion for change of venue is addressed to the discretion of the trial court. The defense continues writing, prejudice may be properly presumed when either an inflammatory publicity about a case has so saturated a community that it is almost impossible to draw an impartial jury from that community, or B, so many jurors admit to a disqualifying prejudice that the trial court may legitimately doubt the avowals of impartiality made by the remaining jurors. State v. Kohberger is an extreme case in the atmosphere Latah County is utterly corrupted by press coverage, requiring a change of venue. The defense hired a trial consultant to conduct a survey of potential jurors. It was really a way to take the temperature in Latah County. The survey led to a couple of fiery hearings last spring with Dr. Bryan Edelman, who reached out to potential jurors in Latah County.
You acknowledge false that Mr. Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false. You know that to be false.
Which one?
Did Mr. Kohberger allegedly stalk one of the victims?
Yes, I was trying not to say that because
you knew that was false.
I did.
The information that was put in the survey is based on the public record and information that the way that the state and state actors put information into the public record that has now been disseminated, and we have not violated.
Did she say state actors? Like actors? There's no actors here, ma'am. Let me go back.
Or state and state actors. But information that was put in the survey is based on the public record and information that the way that the state and state actors put
That's what they
information
said.
into the public record that has now been disseminated. And we have not violated that order. And I do resent being accused of that.
Judge eventually allowed the defense to continue that survey. Now the defense writes in its brief, Latah County citizens who are over the age of 18 are biased and have knowledge of information that is inflammatory, misleading, and or false about this case. The community attitude survey shows case recognition is 98%. 70% of those recognizing the case have already formed an opinion regarding Mr. Kohberger. Their opinion is that he is guilty. The defense continues. 81% of those familiar with the case had read, seen, or heard that police found a knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims.
I wonder. Oh, I didn't know if I was unmuted or not. Now I wonder if I were to do a survey, if I were to go to like my mall, let's say, and I'm not one of them YouTubers, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not that bold, and I surveyed, just people in the mall, like, have you heard of this case? I wonder what the survey numbers would be like in my town. I'm wondering how many people have heard of this case. I figure everybody hasn't. I mean, I think everyone's heard of it. I think now the numbers are kind of higher than I thought with like familiarity with it, like how familiar people are with this case. That's kind of shocking. Oh, they have the new one, Phantom. It's on there? I think we watched episode. I can't remember which one we watched. But we watched one of them on here.
And 67% were aware that DNA found on the sheath was matched to Bryan Kohberger. The defense says 3 other counties were surveyed by Dr. Edelman, and people in those counties had similar views on Bryan Kohberger's guilt. But the defense said people in those counties had fewer personal connections to the case, and they don't follow the media as closely. It is noteworthy that outside of Latah County, the incidence of fear associated with the case is significantly reduced. The defense then broke down the numbers, claiming 25,000 people are eligible for jury service out of the 41,000 in Latah County, because some people aren't eligible because they're under 18 or might ask to be excused because they're older than 70. The defense also points out that 4,500 people in the community are employed by the University of Idaho, and 300 work in law enforcement, the courts, or in the jail, which makes the jury pool even smaller. Interestingly enough, the defense wants the trial moved to Ada County, where Boise is located. It's a larger county than Latah, 12 times the size. That's where the trials of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow were held in the last year. Those trials were both moved to Ada County from smaller counties, and both were still convicted. The defense also argues that jurors from Latah County will basically not have any anonymity. Everyone will know who they are because it's a small town. And one of the defense's jury consultants says that will make the pressure to reach a guilty verdict even greater. The Ada County Court.
Next, we'll be hearing that they're going to have it in Ada County, and just like Lori Vallow's, we'll only be able to hear it by audio. Now, I'm just saying, they don't need to be moving it.
House can accommodate this trial, the defense writes. There are large courtrooms with adequate space and tables for the attorneys and Mr. Kohberger. The large courtroom provides space for each counsel to keep materials and necessary conversation out of eyesight or earshot of the other party, spectators, and the media. There are multiple jury rooms and many private restrooms away from the public to accommodate a large jury for several months. The courthouse and security are set up to assist jurors to and from the courtroom without media exposure.
They don't need that big of a courthouse for him. He ain't that important. By the time summer 2025 rolls around, raise your hand seriously, if you would put out a bunch of money to go to a trial in Idaho for your summer vacation next year. I'll wait. I wouldn't. If I could go anywhere, I'm not going to be going to, Latah County. So you don't need that many. And another thing, Ann Taylor, are you going to front the bill for the 4 families, the victims' families, and the two survivors, their families, to all go to the trial in Ada County. That's like 3 hours away, 6 hours away or something. We looked it up last time. I think it's like 3 hours away. So, I mean, because they're going to have to get airfare there or have to drive there. They're going to have to stay in hotel. They're going to need lodging. They're going to need food. They're going to need all that. And so since their kid was unalived, they get punished even more financially. How about we just we just fly in Kohberger's family, one family, if they want to come.
Dr. Edelman testified in April during a hearing in which he defended his work. He discussed then what he was finding in his survey of Latah County.
So what we found is that one, like I said, very high recognition rate. So 79% of respondents knew at least 5 of these items. So the idea that we're undermining his due process rights, everybody knows all this stuff. It's very high rates. 82% of respondents who recognized 7 of these items or more reported that he's guilty, compared to if they only knew 2 or fewer, only 29% thought he was guilty. And the average was 6.2. So the average number of these details people already know, 6.2.
Unfortunately, the world is not always a safe place. And when
Gotta do the crime fix. This is a long commercial. Okay, here's the guy I was telling you about.
Andy, I want to hear
Okay, let's go back.
homicide cases. Andy, I want to hear your thoughts on
I want to hear what his job is.
Crime Fix. Andy Wilson has prosecuted many high-profile homicide cases. Andy, I want to hear your thoughts on Bryan Kohberger's brief for a change of venue.
So thank you, Jeanette. Obviously, the judge in this case is going to make a decision on this motion that best serves the interests of justice. In our system, a lot of times that is, obviously goes in favor of the defendant.
Okay, this guy here, I looked him up. He is the director of the Department of Public Safety in Ohio. Okay. Wow. All right. Just giving you a little background.
However, there are other considerations when you look at a change of venue motion that a judge has to look at, and you have to take, when you're looking at the overall interest of justice, you have to take in consideration the interest of the community and the interest of the victims. And there is a strong, or should be a strong, presumption that a case should be decided in the community where the crime happened. It should be judged by the beliefs, the norms, the values of that community. And a lot of times what you see in a change of venue motion is not so much getting it out of the community, but actually kind of forum shopping. And you have a little bit of that here in so much as, look, they want to move this to Boise. And when you look at, obviously that's 300 miles away, about 300 miles away. But it's not just the distance, it's the potential jury pool that the defendant is trying to get this case to. So obviously a jury pool that is made up of citizens of a community of 500,000, their beliefs, their norms, their values are going to be different than a community that's made up of 41,000 right around there. So you can see, again, obviously the judge has to make the decision that's in the best interest of justice, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be moved. It certainly doesn't have to be moved to Boise. So, I looked at the survey,
It's just funny he's saying this because they didn't move Pike County's massacre. I mean, 5 family members, right? I really want to go over this case with y'all. Unalived 8 family members in their little compound, because they all had like this little commune or whatever you call it. Like they all lived in the same area in one night. It took them years to figure out who did it. They moved the whole crime scene, even like all the trailers, they picked them up. They moved them to another piece of land. I mean, it was insanity. If you want to talk about a crazy case, and they didn't move that case. They didn't move that out of Pike County. Pike County is way smaller than Latah County. Pike County is like 3,000 people, maybe. I'll double check for y'all, but it's not very much.
They're relying
Let me see
on
here.
Dr. Edelman's survey that he did. That is somewhat instructive, but that shouldn't be dispositive of whether or not this motion should be granted.
2,000.
I would think, though, that Moscow, it's
I was close enough. It was 2,159 people. And they didn't move that thing. I mean, and it was crazy big.
a small town. I was there. It's a college town. It is a small county. And you know what it's like to try a high profile case in a small county. You did George Wagner IV's trial. You were a part of that prosecution team in Pike County, Ohio. That's an even smaller county. They used a local jury. It took forever to pick that jury because it was a death qualified jury, much like this one would be. But you are going to be hard pressed to find anybody in Latah County that doesn't know anything about this or have an opinion about it. And I know the question is, Andy, the question always is, can you set that aside and decide the case based on the evidence in the courtroom? But this is a case that has received an unprecedented amount of attention, both in traditional media and on social media. And people have very strong feelings about it. I mean, there are people out there that think Bryan Kohberger, for as many as think that he is guilty, and many do, there are people out there that think he's innocent. So do you think that that factors in the fact that this is a case that has grabbed headlines around the world, and still people are engaged in discussion about this on social media on a daily basis?
Right. So the fact that you know about a case or heard about a case, even the fact that you may have an opinion about the case, that alone doesn't disqualify you from being a juror. It's whether or not you have prejudged the guilt or the not guilt or innocence of the defendant based on information you got outside the courtroom. So what's interesting, again, the best practice without a doubt that I found, and again, I've tried a lot of pretty high profile cases, a lot of murder cases, is to bring the potential jury before the judge and have the judge instruct them on the law, instruct them on the presumption of innocence, instruct them that the defendant has no burden of proof, that the only evidence that they would be able to consider in the trial is what comes from within the four walls of the courthouse. I found that jurors listen to the judge's instructions more than anybody else in the courtroom. Jurors listen to the judges, and once you bring the jury in front of the judge, and once you begin to ask them questions in voir dire about pretrial publicity and about whether or not they prejudged the case, that's really the best way to determine whether or not you can seat the jury in that venue. You know, to do it on a bare motion, or to do it based on survey results where there's been no instructions of law, when there's been no chance by either of the parties to stare the juror in the eyes, to ask the juror questions, to listen to the way the juror responds to the answers to those questions, you know, that's just not the best way to do it. I think you probably ought to bring this jury or potential jury into the courtroom and try to seat them. Look, if you bring that jury pool in and juror after juror says, look, I've heard too much, I've prejudged the case, and I've seen that in some of the cases that I've tried where you'll have jurors sit down and be like, look, I believe he's guilty based on everything that I've heard. Clearly that juror can't sit. And if you see a pattern of that emerge, then you've got a problem. But I don't think, again, if you're truly looking at the interest of justice for the community and for the victims, I don't think you achieve that until you at least try that. You try to seat a jury in the venue where the crime happened. And then if you can't do that,
absolutely.
Then I also think if you're going to move it, you should move it to a jurisdiction that geographically and demographically represents the venue where the crime happened. And again, I just don't think Boise is the right venue for that.
I like this guy. He's also in charge of, he gets a biannual budget, $2.5 billion for 4,000, and he has 4,000 employees. Biannual.
Ada County is certainly a much different county than Latah County. Bigger, it's a more metro.
I don't know. Ohio people got some corrupt people in it though, but I'm just saying they do trust him with a lot of stuff. But I mean, the governor does anyway.
metropolitan area. It's just bigger. It's much different. You mentioned earlier, it seemed like they were forum shopping, and they've brought up Ada County before, where Boise sits. They've brought it up in hearings before and talked about how it's got better airports. It's just all around a better venue as far as they are concerned. It's a larger courtroom, all this stuff. That is better equipped to handle a trial of this magnitude, because it is going to be a big trial. But we saw with the case that you were on, the Pike County case, George Wagner, the Force case, that was a case that had a bazillion exhibits, and it was still held in that tiny, antiquated courtroom. You guys still got it done. Now, granted, it took forever, but you got it done. You were able to try the case there.
Got it done, though.
I was one of the people who thought maybe it should have been moved to a larger venue, even if it was still in Pike County, maybe like, someplace at the high school or something like that. So you think that they're basically...
I wish I would know now. I wish I was in true crime back then. I would have went to the Pike County court. That would have been exciting, actually.
Do you think in their survey, you mentioned forum shopping, that they uncovered information that they felt was more favorable to them coming out of Ada County?
Look, I think anytime you have a bigger metropolitan area, they look at crime differently. And the potential jury pool that you're going to get out of that bigger metropolitan area, again, I think the population is about 500,000 people. Their beliefs, their views, their values on crime and how criminals should looked at or treated are going to be different than a smaller venue. And it's the defense attorneys. If they wanted to just move it, they would be okay with it moving anywhere in the state, as long as it was away from Moscow. And the fact that they're specifically asking for this metropolitan area, again, they code it in we have bigger courthouses, better transportation, better hotels. That's all true. But I'm telling you, you can try high profile cases in small courthouses. And you can certainly get it done. Again, the case that we handled down there in Pike County,
she just mad because she has to put her purse underneath the desk right now. And she wants to show that loud and proud on the desk, because she did get a couple new bags during the trials or the hearings.
Courthouse didn't even have an elevator in it.
She's mad.
But logistically, we didn't really have any problems in presenting the case the way it needed to be presented. So you can make do in a smaller jurisdiction, smaller venue. I just think that they're trying to get it to a metropolitan jury pool.
Let's do a poll.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. I mean, doesn't moving it, even though it would be a pain, probably for the state, the judge, all of these other people involved, doesn't that kind of remove a potential appellate issue if you move it to another county where maybe there is a bigger media market and there are more people, but maybe people aren't paying as close attention to the case as they would be in Moscow, Idaho, and maybe they don't have the personal connections to the people involved in the university? I mean, doesn't that just kind of fix things a little bit, as far as if you're worried about possible appeals, you think, okay, let's just move it. That's one less thing we have to worry about down the road. If there is indeed a conviction, is the fact that we had this case, we held this trial here in this place where everybody knew about this case and a lot of people had formed opinions.
Certainly, it removes a potential appellate issue, but that should never be an excuse for actually trying to seat a jury in the venue where the crime happened. Again, there's an interest in that community of having crimes that happen in that community adjudicated in that community. There's an interest for the victims to have the crime adjudicated in the community where their loved ones were killed. So the survivor.
And we shouldn't be thinking about the future that far in advance. We need to get to trial first. Let's try to get to the trial and let's see what that happens then.
Of the victims. So there's an interest in having it adjudicated there. I think you do the citizens of that county a disservice by not at least instructing them, bringing them in, giving them the opportunity to be instructed on the law, and then look them in the eye and ask them is whether or not they can serve, whether or not they can set that aside. I think that there is utility in at least trying to seat the jury there first. Now, you may not get it. And if it becomes clear to the judge that you're not going to be able to seat a panel, then yes, you have to move it and do away with that appellate issue. But I'm telling you, when we tried Pike County, everybody we talked to, a lot of people we talked to in the media, a lot of people that we talked to across the state didn't think that we were going to be able to get a jury down there. And once we sat down and actually started talking to these folks, and we had some jurors. You are going to have jurors who come in and say, look, I just can't do it. I can't be fair. I've already prejudged the case. But when you just move it without trying, you actually do a disservice to the citizens of that county. You're telling them, I don't trust you to follow the law. I don't trust you to follow the judge's instructions. So I think you need to at least give the citizens of that community the opportunity to hear that case.
Yeah. Touche, my friend. Touche, Andy Wilson. Like, I mean, seriously, if that was, if that was in your county, you know what I mean? I would want justice. I'd want justice for those victims, and I'd want that to be done in my county. If that happened here where I live, yeah, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that trial to be moved. But I mean, I understand, why they do have to move trials and such. But I wonder I'm trying to think of where Lori was from, because I'm wondering how big the county was when they moved her trial. How big her county was. I can't remember. This case is nationwide. Yeah, they can move this wherever they want. It's still going to have the same amount of people. I mean, not the same amount of people, I don't think, because I think that this does have a little bit more. But I think that they're able to do their job in the county, in Latah County. Now, the space is going to be a little small, but they can move it over to the school like they wanted to do it anyway. That's why, they were talking about a June 2025 trial date, because they needed the school to be empty in order for there to be a trial to be held in the school. Now, I didn't know this until the other day, but the judge and the prosecutor can go with the case. So even though they move it to Ada County, doesn't mean that John Judge ain't going to be the judge sitting there on the bench. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a place, I guess.
Well, there's also a non-dissemination order in place, and it has been in place since Bryan Kohberger was arrested, and the defense asked for that, and the prosecution agreed. So that's limited some of the publicity in the case, but still, it's all over the internet. So it'll be interesting to see what Judge decides. I think he's inclined to keep it where it is, but the hearing's at the end of August. Thank you so much, Andy Wilson.
You're welcome. Thank you.
August 29th, I believe, is the court hearing. That's so weird. It's like another month from now. It don't matter where the trial will be. I don't think it does. I don't think it matters either, Don B. Oh, thank you. About 6,000 people. Okay, so that's even smaller. So no wonders why, Squeaky Wheel. If you think about that, because I was trying to see if it was a smaller town than Latah County. I couldn't remember. I could see it, but I can't remember. I can't remember where they lived. So that's probably why they moved it too, because that's 6,000 people. I mean, that's getting close to Pike County numbers, Pike County had 3,000. Okay. So I want to play this podcast for you guys. Another episode came out. I'm like, man, they're going quick with the episodes now, because there for a while between season 1 and season 2, we didn't hear nothing about, we didn't hear anything from the podcast. And this is the Idaho Massacre podcast that we've been listening to over on Apple. So I'm going to put overlays up. That way you guys have something else to look at. That way you're not just looking, at the screen here. But they're going to talk about the change of venue. So plays into everything that I've kind of talked about tonight. And they talked about on law and crime. Also, I wanted to see. I thought I saw something on. I thought I saw something on the Gonzalez's page, but maybe not. Oh, wait, here we go. I had a feeling they would say something about this, so I wanted to read it to you guys. This 319-page venue change has my head spinning. As a family, we really want to be able to attend the trial. It is very important for us to be there. If this venue gets changed to Ada County, Boise, I don't know what we will do. We are 7 hours away from Boise. We sit in limbo, unsure of what's next for one of the biggest battles of our lives. Please pray that God guides us through this and has a plan for our family. And that's craziness. You know, that's sad. That's sad. They shouldn't, you know what I mean? That they shouldn't have to worry about that. That should be like the least thing. Like, no family. That's so sad. Like, no victim's family should have to worry about traveling. Steve works. I don't know if, and Christy works. She does work outside the house. So they both have jobs outside of the home. Like, they can't just take off 12 weeks for a trial and then be expected to have the money to stay somewhere in a hotel for that long with their whole family and be able to live like that out of a hotel room or even an extended stay or something. Like, still, or even a bed or not bed breakfast. I don't know what they're called now. I forget what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, people rent out their homes. Airbnbs. Very expensive. Okay. So I'm going to play this here and yeah. Shut my big mouth and play this for you guys. If I can find where the tab is. There it is. Okay. And don't forget to hit the like button and all the things. Why isn't this
While
playing?
still providing you a
There we go.
long-term quality smile. Get back to enjoying the foods you love. Call us today at 898-8990 and let us help you get your smile back.
Where's that at? 898.
It was such a heart-wrenching murder that he can't get a fair trial in that community.
In the interest of justice, I don't think the families want to wait. I don't think justice wants to wait.
This is The Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Season 2, Episode 8, Change of Venue. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Leidecker and Gabe Castillo. There have been more than a dozen pretrial hearings in the state of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. The trial had an original start date of October 2023, but nearly a year later, many issues still remain to be decided, including determining if Latah County still has a viable jury pool.
New court filings reveal the defense thinks that, quote, a fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County. They add that enlarging the jury pool will not do anything to overcome that pervasive prejudicial publicity because Latah County does not have a large enough population center to avoid the bias in the community.
Setting a trial date and battling over change of venue are inextricably intertwined. We spoke with many experts to understand the intricacies of the pretrial hearings. Stephanie asked journalist Connor Powell what he thought about the change of venue request on the defense's part.
This is where the judge and the defense prosecution are going to essentially battle over change of venue, which he wants to see it moved out of Moscow, Idaho, because their argument is that he can't get a fair trial there. It was such a dramatic and just really heart-wrenching murder that he can't get a fair trial in that community. And the judge might see it that way. They might not. That's sort of open for discussion. The other issue is where the trial should happen and when. And it's a small town, right? Where this murder took place and where the trial is likely to take place is a small community. There's a school right across the street from the courthouse. And one of the arguments for pushing this back and delaying this is to do it during the summer so that the media onslaught that's going to happen with this trial doesn't impact the local community, particularly the students, the kids of that community.
And also in the university. So that seemed like a pretty smart plan that was initially going to be this summer. We were thinking July, August of 2024. Now that it's pushing so far, look, I get it. He's going to have a trial on the moon to escape people knowing who he is. This is not only national news, it's become world news. And changing of the venues sort of seems like that might just be a delay process and would really slow things down. Or if they change the venue so that it's not one that's directly across the street from a high school, it sort of opens up the calendar potentially for them.
I spoke with Law and Crime's true crime reporter Anjanette Levy, who spent a lot of time in Moscow, Idaho over the past 2 years.
What you have to understand is in Moscow, that is a town of 25,000. It's a college town. And when I was there, the wound that this crime created in that community, the pain, the grief.
This is weird. Okay, Juno, if you were here, Juno, if you're still here in the chat, try to put something in the chat again. It's so weird because we can only me, I can only see you. Can that be a thing? Maybe it's just a person that comes in and just tells creators hello. Good evening. Because I can't see Juno on my iPad, but I can see Juno on my StreamYard. That's weird. So no one can see Juno but me. See, maybe Juno's just I look. Oh, Juno says I've been having problems typing in your channel. Okay, it's okay, Juno. We just want to make sure. I said maybe it's somebody from YouTube that just comes and says hi to creators. I thought maybe gives them like a thumbs up. Everyone's like, well, who's Juno? Okay, I bet you know what? No, that's happening. You can't see anyone either. It's because Juno's in the other chat. Jan, oh my gosh, guys, hold on. Sorry. Let me just cut in here real quick just for a 5 second, thing. Okay. Put me on here for a minute. Okay. What it is, and I just stopped sharing the screen. That's okay. You're in the other chat. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, Juno. Juno or anybody that cannot see anybody chatting but me, if you can only see me chatting, I'm going to give you the link. They're in the other live. Yes, PKC's getting it. No, I literally just did. I forgot. So you're on their second channel. I forgot I did that. So I'm going to give you the channel that we're all on. That's my second channel. And this is make sure we can all click that. Because I did that kind of fast. Did I do that right? Okay, come on over this way, Juno and crew. Because I thought I was losing it. Okay, because I'm like, who would surely no one would block Jan. Like she's the most unproblematic mod on YouTube, and I'm the most unproblematic probably creator on the platform. Like in this little section of our YouTube anyway. So sorry about that. Okay.
Really struck people and stunned them.
We're good.
When I went to businesses trying to talk to people about it. They felt like they were personally wounded by this. It just took such a toll, the influx of media. And this is like a place that should be happy and idyllic. And, this was a small community that took this personally. And you could tell that in speaking to people there. They were doing their best to go about life every day and running their businesses and getting their kids off to school. But this was a horror that unfolded in that town. And so it was a huge deal when an arrest was made. And people may or may not have formed really inflexible, if you would, opinions about that. They may have decided this happened and somebody's got to pay for it. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but it's possible. So I could see how moving it might probably just be the best thing to do. And I'm not talking a couple of towns over. I mean, maybe a few counties over. Who knows where they would move it. But I know that Ann Taylor has suggested Ada County, which is Boise. It's a bigger population center. It has a more modern courthouse. Latah County, it's a very small courthouse.
So for clarity, you mentioned Ann Taylor. And to remind listeners, Ms. Taylor is Bryan Kohberger's defense attorney. Anjanette, are you able to describe the courthouse and specifically its proximity to the school? I know that's been a major issue.
The courthouse is directly across the street from Moscow High School, directly across the street. I mean, you can't get any closer than that. And the courthouse is older. It's a small facility. It's connected to the sheriff's office. The county's a county of 40,000 people. That's not very big. So, you've got the cute little downtown area, the courthouse kind of up the hill from there, and the sheriff's office and the courthouse. It's a building that kind of is in an L shape. And then the high school is right across the street. So it's very quaint. It's very cute. It's a small town.
And Taylor has said that summer 2025 may be too soon. Then are we looking at summer 2026 in order to not interfere with high school?
And college. And they made it sound like, the prosecution thinks this is going to be a 6-week trial. She thought it would be much longer.
I think 15-week was her projection, if I remember correctly. So it's a pretty big disparity.
I would have to know more about what the prosecution's thought process is on their case. But 6 weeks for a case like this, total, especially if you even get to the mitigation phase. Wow, that's ambitious. Obviously, the defense is going to fight, it sounds like. They're going to put up a fight. They're going to be calling experts. I'm sure they'll do their best to cross-examine witnesses and do their best to discredit witnesses through cross-examination.
They said,
but
I believe it was like a 15-week trial altogether, or 12 to 15 weeks, because they're counting the jury and they're talking like the jury pool and the deliberations as well. Sorry, this dang dog. She had to be in here. I'm just looking at her like, there's Juno. Juno's here. I bet you never had a welcome like this before in the chat. Hey, welcome in, Amanda. I'm sorry that we didn't know where you were. And yeah, I had no clue. Okay. I had no clue what was going on there for a minute.
Who knows what they have planned? She's arguing for a change of venue. And you can't tell me that somebody like me, I'm poring over this stuff every time something is filed because that's my job and I'm interested in it. And I need to be able to convey stuff accurately to the public. But I don't think maybe your average juror is sitting there monitoring the Idaho Judicial Cases of Interest website, waiting to look at this. And if they move the trial, she's got a jury expert that's going to come in and say that Latah County's biased and they can't have the trial there. Well, if you're going to move it somewhere, then you're going to have a bigger jury pool, potentially a larger pool of people from which to choose. And the longer this gets drawn out, the more memories will fade.
But even the change of venue, and that's obviously defense attorney Taylor is trying really hard to get that changed. But what even is the difference of moving a couple of towns over in terms of people knowing or not knowing about this case that is in the news all the time?
Normal people are busy. Cell phones have changed everything, of course, but they're not always on their phones looking at every little development in a case.
Data analyst Body Movin is a super sleuth who you may know from Netflix's Don't F with Cats. She has some additional thoughts on the merit of a potential change of venue.
I do think that they're going to move it, though. I really do. And I think it just makes sense more logistically than anything else. The tiny itty bitty little town,
I don't think they're going to move it. They're going to move it to the high school, I think.
The media is going to be
all
over this. People are going to be traveling to try to attend this trial. Logistically, I don't know that the city or town of Moscow can handle all the people. And Courtney, we follow trials. And this is what we do, right? I just don't think, in the interest of justice, I don't think the families want to wait. I don't think justice wants to wait. I do think it should move. Not necessarily because of the jury pool.
I think that the Goncalves family, they would definitely wait more if they needed to. They don't even want to be waiting right now, but they would wait longer if they had to in order to be there. That's crazy. I'm gonna cut the poll really quick because I want to ask you guys another poll question. So let me get down here and let me get to the question. The question was, do you think they will move the venue? Yes, 80%, no, 19%. And they're never 100% on these polls for some reason. And I'll do another poll for you guys while we're listening to this.
For logistical reasons, it's just, I just don't think it's going to be a good thing.
What you just said is common sense, but it somehow had not occurred to me.
another year for all those families to wait, right? To find out what happened to their children.
And live in limbo.
Especially in capital cases, there's so many pre-hearing motions and things that have to be done. And while preparing the defense and preparing the prosecution. I mean, I think media has taken a unique turn, especially with true crime reporting, right? You have people who are independent, I'm using quotes, independent journalists, right? Now who are, their living is on YouTube and social media. And they make little press passes for themselves and whatnot. And they harass people to get information. And I just can't imagine this trial happening while kids are at school on recess playing soccer in the field that's facing the court and possibly being on a YouTube channel. Do you know what I mean?
I would go crazy. And I think
I'm sorry, I thought I was muted. I laughed really loud. So sorry if I hurt your ears. I'm so sorry. But she said, not press passes. Expecting to be on YouTube. Is that what she said? I gotta go back. We gotta listen to that 15 seconds again. I'm looking at my press pass that I printed out too as I'm talking about it. Okay.
you're right that
School on and social media and
Go
it has
back a little bit.
taken a unique turn, especially with true crime reporting, right? You have people who are independent, I'm using quotes, independent journalists, right? Now who are, their living is on YouTube and social media. And they make little press passes for themselves and whatnot. And they
Shut up. She's talking about JLR. I swear you guys, she is. She ain't even talking about Betty here. I think she's talking about JLR.
harass people to get information. And I just can't imagine this trial happening while kids are at school on recess playing soccer in the field that's facing the court and possibly being on a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
JLR
mean?
will be
I
screaming at
would
you.
go crazy. And I think you're right that
JLR is going to say, Bryan, did you stab these 4 students? Did you do it, Bryan?
parents would go crazy.
Of course, we all want justice. I mean,
Me too, Tony. I'll be streaming it.
everybody wants justice, but imagine living in that town and you have a 13-year-old child who has to go to school and wade through all the reporters to get there. I'm not saying that would happen, but it could. And I don't think the community of Moscow would like
Plus, it'll be June. School will be out.
that. Now, I do think that the people of Moscow do want justice served by them, by their community, because this happened in their community. And they want to be the ones to see it through, right? I think
Well, then
they're
how do you
good,
think it's going to be
hardworking
moved?
Americans that
This woman just said she thinks the trial is going to be moved. But then
believe in the
says this.
system and want to see things through. I absolutely believe that. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get that done in time for school to be out of session. And that includes the university too, because the town is full. It's full while the kids are in school. I think it's going to have to move. Justice moves so slowly. I just don't believe they're going to be ready in time. I just don't. I am not a victim's family or, part of the community of Moscow. So it's easy for me to say the judges should just move it and get it over with and move on and get to the issues at hand.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Open the door to
Line 75th.
To get a better understanding of the judicial practices that come into play with potential change of venue, I spoke with Kirk Nurmi, legal analyst and former defense attorney for Casey Anthony. Knowing that Kohberger's defense attorney, Ann Taylor, wants a change of venue, I asked if the judge alone makes the final decision.
Well, ultimately, there's just kind of a default assessment that the jurisdiction of the court of a particular county, I believe in this case is Latah County, is the court that assesses and judges and tries all crimes that are committed in that county. So that is the general presumption, if you will. A defense can look to change venue if they feel as if to another jurisdiction, another county, district, what have you, however the state is set up within the boundaries of that state. And what they have to do in order to motivate that to happen is they have to assert facts to substantiate the idea that their client cannot get a fair trial in the county or district or what have you in the court that they are presently in front of.
I'm not asking you for statistics, but I guess how rare is it to have the trial changed out of the county in which the crime was committed?
Well, I'm glad you didn't ask for statistics because I couldn't give you any, but I will say it's rare, but much more common in a high profile case. Because when a case gets so much attention in an area, and we're really talking about media saturation, be that traditional media or social media, and how many people have prejudged the case in a particular area. For example, small counties have a smaller population of jury pool to draw from. Maybe there's a higher percentage of people in that county that already know about the case, that sort of thing. So that becomes the defense's job to demonstrate that bias that would violate the Sixth Amendment, and it becomes incumbent on the judge to make the decision. The prosecutor, in some cases, might relent. They might say, yeah, this is not going to be a county where you can get a fair trial. But ultimately, that decision lies with the judge.
After speaking with Kirk, I got curious if there were any statistics on change of venue and found a survey put out by the University of San Diego. The survey analyzed murder trials from 2000 to 2020 across all 50 states. There were many mitigating factors, but the success rate of change of venue was just 23.5%. Here, Stephen Greenberg, attorney and former prosecutor, elaborates.
23.5% success rate. And when you change a venue, I don't know if I like them odds.
On the potential outcomes for the change of venue in this case.
The norm is they're not going to get a change of venue, and you can always get a jury. By the way, people debate, sometimes they lie because they want to sit on the jury. You know, we had a case involving a very important political figure, all headlines. Did you ever read anything about it? No. Did you see anything on TV? No, of course they did. But you can always get a jury. And if I were the judge, I would do everything in my power to keep it from happening. Any judge worth his or her salt won't let it happen. Worst case, they'll bring in jurors from another area. They can always do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And by the way, it's not unheard of to go to a different venue and bring in a jury pool from a neighboring area. You know, it's always subtle. Judges do subtle things. There's little things that happen during a trial that can be very harmful or helpful. This judge is not going to be helpful to the defense, not at all. And he's going to keep the case.
I understand how unlikely you think it is for it to move, but if a trial moves, does the judge move with it? Is that possible or no?
Yes. Any one of a number of things could happen. First, the whole thing could be denied because they have enough to get another pool. The other thing they can do is the judge stays where the judge is, and they bring in jurors from a different place, which is what I indicated earlier. The other thing is for the judge himself or herself to move to a different venue and pick a jury there. Any one of those three are possible.
Inside Edition's Chris Spargo shared his thoughts on security and monetary issues involved with the trial's ultimate location. So you talked about people in the area kind of feeling frustration about how long this trial will be. Do you know any other details about that, or can you speak to that?
I heard there are concerns, which makes sense. I mean, obviously, that's another cost too. If kids are in school when that trial's going on, that's another level of security you're going to have to get to make sure, there's no sort of overlap. And I think that's not something they really want to expose the kids to. It's a very, very, very grim trial, even the details. So I don't think, you want kids knowing about that. And I mean, I think there's the general media attention. No one wants their child to be around this sort of media attention that's going on with this trial. Like, I can't imagine being a parent knowing that, 80 news trucks are outside my kid's school while they're, that's just not a way for a kid to live. And that's not something you want for your child. So I think that's sort of an understandable thing if they want to push it. But again, push it or not, that's probably going to be another huge security cost for them.
Have you been to the courthouse?
I've not. My colleague has been to the courthouse. I am not much of a traveler. It's nothing grand. And it's which is kind of wild when you think about it because of the size of the trial. It also makes it a big problem, though, because of the amount of power the media company's using and everything. I mean, it's really a drain, this little courthouse being surrounded by all these vans and all these reporters and everything. It's it's kind of chaotic when it's these hearings. And these hearings are not even major hearings right now, so to speak, compared to when the actual trial starts. And even then, I mean, my colleague said it was wild how you can barely get in. There's a million people around. It's really chaos.
Do you have an opinion on if the trial either should move or if the judge will decide to move it?
I wish the trial were moved for the sake of the residents. I think that they've done enough. I think they've bared the burden of just get it out of there for those poor people. Like, I mean, I don't care. I don't think really care about the jury so much. I know that's not really the legal precedent or how they decide, but it would just be nice if it wasn't there for them. Like, I just would feel so nice for them if people just got out and did it somewhere else. Like I said before, though, I don't think you could put that jury anywhere in the United States, and get a truly impartial jury who doesn't know anything about Bryan Kohberger. It'd be nice to move to another county just for, like I said, just for the people that live in Moscow. That'd be great. But I think it's going to be hard for the defense to prove that any neighboring county is any more or less impacted by what's been covered in the media and what they know about it than Latah.
As of the date of this recording, June 27th, 2024, a decision on change of venue has not been decided. There was a pretrial hearing today where it was speculated the decision may come down, but that is not the case. Here's Stephanie.
As the debate over the venue takes place, we found it interesting that Kohberger is housed literally below the courthouse in the basement. That's where the county jail is, and he's been there since January 4th, 2023.
A lot of smaller towns are like that. I thought all county jails were like that. I just found out recently that they weren't. Where I grew up, it was right underneath you. The jail is right underneath the courthouse. They just bring you up them steps. Don't even got to transport you, really. I mean, literally, just bring you up the steps.
The jail itself is about 2,000 square feet and houses approximately 17 inmates at any time. So for comparison, according to U.S. Census data, the average newly built house in the U.S. measures approximately 2,300 square feet. So the average newly built house is actually bigger than where Kohberger and his fellow inmates are being housed at this time. News Nation did a really good job breaking down a little bit of his life behind bars. We know that there are about,
and we saw that episode,
3 guards working at any one time. And when Kohberger goes out for exercise for 1 hour a day, he's always with guards. There's been a lot made about him receiving special treatment, specifically the fact that he has vegan meals or new suits and a computer and his own television. According to reports, his meals are primarily rice and beans and vegetables. He has a computer, or at least access to one, just like any other inmate. He can use a thumb drive to look at documents related to his case, make notes, and then get those back to his attorney. That's pretty status quo. As for him having his own television, that's because he's not in the general population, and it's been noted that the TV is actually outside of his cell, so he can watch it between the bars. And according to other inmates who can sometimes hear what he's listening to or watching, he's apparently very interested in the coverage of his own case. Something else interesting about his routine is that he apparently attends mass at the jail library. That's the only time he's actually allowed to be with fellow inmates.
Well, yeah,
everyone's Christian in jail.
There you
go.
go.
The Daily Mail exclusive, Pastor Mike Hall, who heads up this special group that sends ministers into jails, is quoted as saying, "We don't tell folks that we will relieve them of their responsibility of their crimes," end quote. But he does speak to somebody one-on-one occasionally. Outlets have reported that he's been a model prisoner, even though he sometimes gets taunted by other inmates while he's walking by. And one other curious thing, Bryan Kohberger is apparently getting a lot of attention from women. There are apparently cohorts of women who are reaching out to him because they have romantic interest in him.
Let's stop here for another break. We'll be back in a moment.
New from Double Asterisk. And I was in the movement. The fence brand doesn't want you to find your...
The 2020...
Following is a quick conversation that happened between Stephanie, journalist Connor Powell, and Body Movin'. This short chat sent us pretty far down the path on this topic.
One of the topics that came up was this idea of people who fall in love or have obsessions with criminals who are in prison, or have been, particularly ones who have been accused of murder. And there was a name, the phrase that was thrown out was hybristophilia, which is this idea of a sexual attraction in response to somebody who's committed a heinous crime.
It just really makes you wonder the why, right? This seems to me like there has to be some sort of unhealed trauma to never.
Because that guy ain't ever going to leave her. He tells her what she wants to hear, the guy that's in jail. You know, that's why these women go after these men. Come on now.
Want your partner to come home at night
Nah.
is, kind
Nuh-uh.
of tell about something probably larger.
Nah. Not so much. Not so much. That's why they have 9 to 5s, so that married couples stay married. That's what I say.
I was amazed as I was doing some digging today, Buddy, that there are multiple social media sites dedicated to the fascination and with people professing their love of Bryan Kohberger. Is that something you've come across before in criminal data research you've done before?
Yes, I have extensive knowledge on this disorder.
Is that extensive personal knowledge or just extensive knowledge?
Personal
Okay.
personal knowledge. So as you all know, I was in that Netflix documentary, Don't F with Cats, and the subject was a murder that happened. Luca Magnotta was the murderer. And I was in the documentary talking about it and how he was caught and I was after him and, all this, right? Well, after the documentary aired, literally the first 150 emails I got were all from the same person telling me what a scumbag I was because they're in love with Luca. And to this day, this documentary aired in 2019, the end of 2019. So it's been 4 years, right? To this day, I still get hate mail from people who are obsessed with Luca Magnotta and how dare I, and it's absolutely wild. It gives me the creeps.
Is that because they don't think that he did it and that they just feel like he's been wrongfully accused and he's this cute man behind bars?
It's a mix. It's a mix of people that are trying to be like edgelords. There's many reasons people have this disorder, right? There's low self-esteem issues. People believe they can change him. Others just see it like a little boy that the killer once was, and he wasn't protected and he needs to be nurtured. There's many different
Who
reasons.
hurt his
Not many people
feelings?
think he's innocent.
I was gonna say part of the arousal, right? Part of the attraction is that he did do it, right? Like that's
Right.
kind of what they get off on.
Yeah, it's part of it is this is a really dangerous person, and if I can get them to love me, I'm one of the people he would never hurt or, I'm protected.
Oh, my lordy.
There's many different reasons that people have this, and I think that, the people that have this disorder think that, "Oh, well, if I love him, he's not going to be a danger," but there's, like, a whole subreddit dedicated to the love.
Yeah, there's sort of two groups on social media of people who are defending Kohberger saying he didn't do it.
Right.
And then there's this other little
Right.
subgroup that you see, which is like they sort of acknowledge, or maybe they don't fully acknowledge, but they are turned on by what he did. And you're right, it goes into that he would never do it to me, and I can change him.
Yeah, I mean, the people who think he's innocent are not in this group of they call themselves bribes. They're not in this group of bribes. They like Photoshop his images into pictures. They have literal altars with his mugshots and,
Yeah.
with the turtle
Sure
suit
do.
on. They make like fan cams on Twitter of him, like entering court, and it's like in slow motion with like music playing. And a lot of it too, I think, is the edgelord mentality, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to piss off everyone I know because I am a troll. A lot of it is trolling. They want a reaction. They want the attention. They want people to be absolutely outraged by their behavior. It's an internet troll. But they do exist, and it is an actual disorder. There's many papers written on it. I had to go study this because I was getting a
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't even mean to be laughing. I just went over to Brian's Girls, the subreddit that they're talking about, and the first post is Idaho Massacre. It has a picture of what we're watching, and it says false claims. I'll show it to you when we're done. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh in your
lot
ear.
of like threats, literal threats against my own life. But if you look at history, look at how many women were fascinated with Ted Bundy. And even to this day, still are. And the bribes compare Bryan Kohberger to Ted Bundy. It's absolutely wild.
She called them the bribes. Oh my gosh, that's just too much. But no, there they are. This is what I. It's an open forum now, but it wasn't before. I think it's open now anyway. Why am I thought I was joined. Why does it say join? I was already joined. Maybe I unjoined. I don't know. Maybe they unjoined me. But see all these pictures they have? Look at this. Look, who did this? Happy Father's Day. Who's his kid? He ain't even got a dog to call his own. What are you talking about? Look at this. Framed. Oh my gosh. When cops become desperate, innocent people suffer. Oh my lordy. Look at this. This is just too much. Somebody actually had this, made this. Like a little shrine of Bryan. Okay, you guys aren't even seeing what I'm seeing because I've got the banner still up. Sorry, guys. Okay, let me put this up. Sorry, I thought I had this up for you guys, and I didn't. Yeah, this is too much. Okay, we're gonna go back up. This is just too much. This is where, false claims. Happy 4th to our American boy. What? I can name a lot of people that are American, and Kohberger, I don't picture him as American right now. I picture him as Bryan Kohberger, inmate number 50-4321. Little movie, looks like a little movie for him. This is insanity. Who put that suit jacket on him? Where does this outfit come from? I've never seen this. Did I miss a court hearing? Or what? Thanks, Jan. Sorry, I didn't know you guys couldn't see. I always forget that whenever I have the overlays up, it's not a web page, it's an overlay. A little different. I can't move it out of the way. I don't remember this. What's it say? Barbie. Oh wait, baby Bri. But she spelled it Babie, baby. Okay. If you can't spell baby, then you don't need to be writing in this subreddit. You chose the man over the bear. Oh my God. Oh my God. This right here is ruining my childhood. Because I had one of these little things that you had with little giggy pet thing, but the giggy pet was smaller. But this one was like a diary. That's what it was, like a secret little diary. I had that. I don't want to look at that anymore. But yeah, this is all what they've got for you. New picture of Bryan on Twitter. I haven't seen that one. That's 3 months ago. I haven't seen that picture of him. See, look at this. Look at that. Someone edited his eyes closed. What? Someone put bunny ears on him. Do you think Bri likes these? Do you think this makes him feel manly with the flower around his head? Oh man, I don't know. I've wondered about his male cricket day. I've wondered if he, how much he actually is able to get of it, and how much they just throw away or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know if I know some stuff you probably can't have behind bars. Oh, I didn't even turn my camera back on. Here I am. Man, I bet the parents of Bryan. I'm wondering where they went wrong. I would. Man, these people have too much time on their hands. This is just too much. Can they help me with some of the graphics on my channel? If you guys need a job, wonder whatever happened to that one girl. Whatever happened to the one girl that loved Bryan? What was her name? Not Lindsay. That wasn't it. Oh, now I gotta look up Bryan Kohberger's girlfriend. I don't remember her name, so that's what I'm gonna type in. Man, that took a while to come up. It's showing me the redhead. I don't want to see the redhead girl. I want to see the other girl. Here she is. Brittany Heslope. Wonder what happened to her. Is she still around? Let's see. I'm going to look her up by her name. So she has 8 followers on Instagram. That's probably an old one. That's not her. Okay. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to snoop around and see if I can find her. All accounts private on this one. That's not her. Yeah, no, that's not her. That sucks to have the same name. But yeah, I'll look into that. I'll try to find him. I'll try to find her. But remember Brittany Hislop? No, this girl wishes she had the good birthing hips because she really liked Bri. Hey, serious? You got a new picture too. Everyone's got new pictures. What's up with everyone getting new pictures? Is it new? It's because it's new month tomorrow? Mr. Beast is under fire. Oh, I said his name. I'm probably going to be demonetized now. Oh, fandom. Yeah, I guess apparently he is. I haven't looked into it, but I've heard some stuff about his ex business partner or his business partner was like, I think has to do with some pedo stuff. So I don't know, but not him, but the people that he was associated with. We should go over that. We should go over that on the second channel. T-Rev made a video. I think this is the one we already saw. I think we saw that one. It was like his music video, and then it has like a little bit of stuff after it. He doesn't even ever come up unless I put T-Right 757 in. Because I think that his new profile picture is based off of me with the no picture, the shirt with the no, the picture with him with no shirt on, because I made fun of him for not wearing a shirt. Wait, have we? Hold on. T-Rev 4 days ago, when social media nightmares, when bullying turns deadly. Is this? Is this? I haven't seen this. So this is a new video he put out, but it's not for, I don't know if it's like his video or if he just uploaded someone else's video. But let's see. Oh, 3 days ago, he had another one, but I saw that one. That's the one with the music video. Okay, I just didn't see the one before that. Yeah, because I'll share the chat. Like, see, I don't watch his videos at all. Like, I watched some of his Bryan Kohberger stuff. Look, Kylie Rodney 7 months ago. Watched a little bit of that. But yeah. Now let's see the lives. 1 month ago still. Yeah, so yeah, we saw that one video that he did. My truth, but it was not, it wasn't a truth. It was like, it wasn't a truth. It wasn't good. But he raps in the beginning of it. You know, you can't beat that. If all else fails, rap music. I mean, I love rap music. I can't deny it, but that's not rap. That's AI generated crap that he does. Yeah, where he said he was hacked. Yeah. That's the one, yeah. Where he said he was, yeah. You ain't hacked. You know you got that 2-factor authentication on your stuff. You're smarter than that. You have almost 70,000 subscribers. And I love the name What the Fox. What the Fox? Look at that puppy. Everyone's got their puppy on their picture. It's so cute. Linda, you need to get a puppy picture or kitty picture. PKC, you too. I'm going to call everybody out with the initials. It seems like everybody's got kitty picture. Except for Jan. She changed hers, but she put her daughter on there. My ear is itching. I don't know why, but what does that mean? Money? Money, 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 I hope. Why would people pay a YouTube if they have not been on it in 2 months? I don't know. I always forget I have stuff. I always end up paying for stuff. That's bad. That's too bad. Squeaky wheel. I read your comment. I catch bits and pieces and then I comment on them as if I know what I'm talking about. I do the same thing. So that's my life. That's just my life in general. Like I catch bits and pieces of life and then I comment on them, you know, as if I know what's going on. That's funny. Oh, you changed yours. Look at That's the perfect one. That's what you need to do. That's the one you need for in here. Robin, you're in California? Yeah, you're closer than me. Well, actually, you are, but it was still from LA. It was like 16 hours or something of a drive. I was like, what the? I was trying to convince Vincent to go when we were out in California. I was like, how far is it to Idaho? He's like, just because we're on the West Coast does not mean they're, back to back. So I was like, oh, they're not. It was a little bit of a drive because like it's Southern California, Northern Idaho. Oh no. I'm just reading the chat. That's all I really have for you guys for tonight though. Actually, I don't know what day we're on, but since July 18th, my foot's been numb. Still numb today. I want to let you guys know every day just so I can record it. Like maybe it'll come back as a memory next year. I hate when that happens. When you get like memories on your phone from like the year before and you're like, oh. And it's like you taking a video of doing something like weird. I do that. Does anyone else do that? Like medically weird? Like, so when my teeth were like getting filled in by this other dentist, she messed it up and it was like causing my tongue to rub and it was causing like a callus on my tongue. So I was like, I took like a picture of my tongue one time and a year later it comes up on my memories and I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't know, and then I figured it out. I was like, oh, that's my tongue. But, and my Google search is the same way. Google searches will get me. If the cops were to ever like confiscate my computer, they would be like, what is wrong with you? Like, and I would say, you don't ask me, you ask the 17,000 people that follow me because I look up the stuff for you guys. I'm just kidding. Yes, everyone hit the like button. We're so close. 4 away. We're 4 away. Hey, Karina, welcome in. Robin V, I love that answer. I don't know. You're like, just let me know and then we'll talk about it. Hey, Karina. Hey, Julie. I missed some people in the chat. Welcome in, everybody. We're getting ready to get off here now. What time is it? 11:28. Vincent's asleep, so I can hang out with you for a little bit, for a minute or two. Cheryl was in here earlier. She's buying $15 worth of peanut butter. Oh, sorry, that was my hairspray. Apparently, peanut butter is $15 in Canada. I'm just so in awe of that. Because that's what, in the United States of America, that's what we consider, like, if we're like, we need to get through the week, we're going to be eating peanut butter, jelly sandwiches to get through the week. But it's a delicacy in Canada. Did we make it? We made it to 100. Oh, thank you guys. Look at that. Just a little push. That's all we needed. We just needed to push you guys a little bit. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. You guys are very kind. Very, very kind. Syrup is 15. Are you from Canada too, Cricket Day? Man, that's what I said. I told Cheryl that's why y'all's healthcare is free. But man, I should check prices more. That's so bad. I shouldn't say that I don't check prices because that makes me sound like I've got a ton of money and I don't. But no, like I don't look at like that kind of a price. Do you know what I mean? Like I look at the difference of what it was compared to like last year. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't know like how much I know how much they've gone up over the years. I'm trying to explain it in a better way. I can't really explain it to you guys. I can't really put it in words how like I don't know. I just don't like think of it like that. I think of like, okay, so like milk where I live, milk is $5.50 here for a gallon. Like that is something like I'm like, okay, milk. If it was like something like milk, egg, bread, like those things, then I would know. But peanut butter, I don't need a whole lot of peanut butter. But food in general is just crazy. It's crazy. Oh, Tony, here, it's crazy expensive here too. And in the United States. I mean, but I don't know. That's pretty expensive. with the exchange. Yeah, the exchange rate. I've been to Canada twice. Yeah, I've been to Canada twice. I actually have a really funny to Canada story. I'll have to tell you guys sometime if I ever like, I don't know. It's a good one. I'll have to tell you guys sometime whenever I feel it up to it. Organic maple syrup. Yeah, like what are we talking about? Miss Buttersworth is not a thing anymore. Doodlebug. No. They took Miss Buttersworth off the syrup bottle. Have you guys seen the new syrup? I forget what it's called. It's not called Miss Buttersworth no more. And I don't like it the same. I don't like it. I don't think it's the same anymore. I forget what it's called. I should go grab it out of my refrigerator to let you guys know. It's like, what is it? It's like Buttersworth or something, or it's just like maybe the last name. But that's what we call it. That's what you call it. It's Miss Buttersworth. Why do they do that? Just like Uncle Ben's rice. I mean, I know why they're doing it, but don't do it. It's just keep it the way it is, because then they change the name, and then in my autistic brain, that changes the recipe, and then I don't want to eat it anymore. So serious, milk isn't too bad if you go to I should go to like Kroger. Our grocery stores usually runs about $3. But if I go over to Target, which is bad, shouldn't get groceries at Target. I do though sometimes get milk there, and it's $5.50. I justify it because I don't want to go down the road 2 miles to get $1.50 off, let's say. Does that make sense? I'm like, that probably cost me that much in gas to get there. I don't know why did they say Miss Buttersworth? I think they took her, or was it Miss Buttersworth? Yeah, it was. Or was it just the Aunt Jemima brand? I think the Aunt Jemima brand was because of the race of the woman. And I think the Uncle Ben's, I don't know why, because it was something about the name Uncle. It was just something like people were making it weird. Cricket Day, that's nothing wrong with it. People are making things wrong with it. Like we've had these as our things forever. Like Uncle Ben's rice has been around for since rice. I don't know, it's like the only rice brand I know, and I have a lot of rice in my fridge. But it comes prepackaged in Ziploc baggies, courtesy of Vincent's mom. She sends him rice. I guess it's different kinds. I didn't even know. I didn't even know there was like that many different kinds. Like I just put the date on there, and I'm just like, just eat it. It is our history. What's up with it? I don't like change. I don't like change. And this is coming from someone that's pretty young. I'm pretty young. Pearl milling, that's what it is, Aunt Jemima. It was Aunt Jemima. Why we mess with it? Aunt Jemima was the best. I could picture it Saturday morning. You get up, you eat your pancakes or your French toast or your waffle. Because I was a weird kid. Eggs were okay, but I was more of a, pancake waffle kind of gal. And you'd have your little Aunt Jemima on the counter. I mean, that's just, I never thought of it as a racial thing. I never thought of it I just always thought of it as eating breakfast on a Saturday morning. Makes me sad now. Okay, so Uncle Ben's mascot brand was a black man, and Aunt Jemima reminded me of Mammy from Gone with the Wind. That's so funny. Mammy was Gone with the Wind. Aw. But Uncle Ben's mascot, okay, that's what it was. Black man. Yeah, he is. He was, wasn't he? See, I didn't even remember him being black. That's how much I see color. I thought that it was because his name, he had uncle in it. Because at one point they were going to start taking all those names out of remember, like they were starting to take they were going to take like not surnames, whatever, like out of the dictionary, like certain like names, like uncle, aunt. You weren't going to call people by that anymore. And I was like, because I remember thinking, like, what's next? Mom and dad's gone. You just call them by their first and last, like their first name. Like my mom would have beat me as a kid. When I was an adult, I called her Cindy all the time because she just, when she was being ornery, I would call her by her first name. And she was always being ornery. Yeah, I like that. I like the Aunt Jemima, and I like just keep them all the same. Uncle Ben's, Aunt Jemima. Me Doodlebug, me too. I mean, I just thought it was I figured that's probably where the name came from. Doodlebug said I thought it was just Uncle Ben was a great chef who made rice. Yeah. I would have never if someone asked me like I would have said whoever owns it, his name's Ben and he's an uncle. You know, like I mean, I would have never yeah, Julia, I never yeah. She's like that's a comfort. That's part of your comfort food, you know? I never thought of a race either. I mean, makes me kind of mad now. Kind of mad and sad at the same time. It's like I'm mad, but I'm sad at the same time. I don't know. So I want to true crime and other stuff. I heard this like a couple years ago. It was in like a magazine or a newspaper. Like they were going to start taking like those names out because people were having like throwing a fit. But I don't know why they'd be throwing a fit over being an aunt or uncle. I love being an aunt. Except for when they want something. No, just kidding. I don't know you kids. But yeah, I don't know. That's weird. And you know what? None of us even noticed the race. I'm still thinking about it. Like my mind's going. I'm like, oh. And I never knew Uncle Ben was black. Did he have white hair? Now that I'm like I'm trying to think of the face with the white hair, maybe. I don't. Fan cams for Bryan, yeah. Oh, serious. We missed you too. Hope everything's okay. Oh, Wiz didn't see Wiz come in. Or I did see Wiz. Wiz has been in here. I'm like, wait a minute. But I was like, wait, Wiz has been in here. What did Wiz say? I didn't see that she commented though. You've been kind of quiet, unless I haven't seen your comments. I hope I didn't scroll through them. I always thought it was about having a good cook in a kitchen. Yeah. Well, see, all of our answers are better than, I guess, for the reason for them taking it all away. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all over here like, if I wouldn't have brought it up, none of us would have been none the wiser. Now next time you go to the grocery store, you're going to be looking for the uncle in the bins, and it's just bins, I think now. And then, Aunt Jemima's the milling company. Man, why'd they do that? I don't like. I mean, I understand it. I shouldn't probably say anything because I'm not. It didn't bother me, but if it bothers people of that race, then I mean, that's not my decision to be had then. But it never bothered me, and I never thought of it as a racial thing. But I'm gonna tell you now that try that syrup. See if you like it still. I don't like it. I don't like it as much. I don't know why. And it literally could just be them changing the brand and my brain seeing that, and it just, yeah. I think that they're gonna take what are they gonna do something with the Colonel too? Now I can't remember. I probably can't say crazy anymore, can I? True crime, we're not supposed to, but I say it all the time. That's so funny. Some stuff I just don't get. I guess I'm old at heart, but those are some of the things I don't get. But thank you guys all for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it. What the heck did I miss? Miss Rosebud, it was pretty good. Rewind the last 10 minutes. We were just talking about the different brands of food that they're changing. They've even changed sporting teams' names. There are a few football teams out there right now that I don't even know who they are. Like, there's a baseball team that changed. Oh, seriously, I think if you guys do during the day too. And I'm like, should I go live? Well, because earlier I was going to go live, but it wasn't like I didn't have a big turnout on the poll. So I was like, I don't know. And I saw a couple other people were live today. So I was like, I better not. So, but yeah. Oh, you say syrup? I do say syrup. Syrup. I do say syrup. You're right. It's syrup. But I'm saying syrup. But that's how I say it. I hate syrup. Yeah. Huh. Wonder if that's like a Midwest thing or an East Coast thing. I don't even know. I don't even know where I got that from. But But thank you guys all for coming and joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I'm going to go and wake up Vincent. The dogs are back in here. Look at this one. Look at this. Sleeping now. They're being such good girls. They were like just wanting to walk around, and you guys probably can't even hear it as much as I can, but the clinking and the clanking of the nails, it drives me up a wall. And I don't want you guys to hear that. Like, I can listen to it if it's just me by myself. Do I say syrup or syrup? Because now I don't know what I say. Syrup. 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 Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to have to say it on my own. Someone remind me to say syrup. Syrup. Okay, syrup. 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 Now I don't know what I say. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I will see you guys on tomorrow. If you don't mind, hit the like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon for all notifications. That way you're alerted. We're here every evening. Sometimes I come on during the day. Sometimes I come on at a different time. So, just make sure the bell icon's on. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.